AITA for ruining my family after my dad rewarded my brother's affair? I am 33 years old, and I grew up with my little brother Alex, 30, in a family that looked normal from the outside. But in reality, the dynamic in our house was seriously messed up. Alex was the miracle baby. My mom had a difficult pregnancy with him, and he was very sick during his early years. He was constantly in the hospital with respiratory problems, infections, the whole 9 yards. I remember spending a lot of time in hospital waiting rooms when I was a kid. I get it, having a sick child is hard. But even after Alex got better, my parents, especially my dad, kept treating him like he was made of glass. Meanwhile, I was supposed to be the perfect, responsible older brother, the one who should always know better. My parents would say Alex could skip class because he needed rest. If Alex failed a subject, it was because he had suffered so much. If Alex broke something expensive, they told me not to be mad at my brother. But me? I had to have perfect grades, never talk back, help around the house, and act like a mini adult from the age of 7. The double standards were insane. For example, I remember one time in high school, I got detention for being late just once, and I was grounded for a week. That same month, Alex got caught skipping school to hang out with his buddies at the mall, and my parents just gave him a talking to. I started working with my dad in his electrical contracting business at 15. Not because I was passionate about it at the time, but because it was the only way to get a little attention or approval from him. And guess what? I was good, really good. I learned everything I could about the trade. I stayed late to watch my dad do the complex jobs. I read manuals. I watched YouTube videos to improve my skills. Meanwhile, Alex stayed Alex. Smart when he wanted to be, but without a shred of work ethic. He could charm anyone with his fragile child act, a role he never dropped. He tried college for 2 semesters and then dropped out because it was too stressful. He started an online dropshipping business that failed, then played day trader and lost a large sum of my dad's money. And despite everything, I was the one being lectured about supporting the family and the importance of being there for my brother. I am not going to lie, it created a weird mix of resentment and responsibility in me. I loved my brother because he is my brother, but I could not stand being around him. We were exact opposites. I was the serious one, the hard worker, the guy who kept his promises and did things right. He was the fun one, the guy who always escaped the consequences and thought the rules did not apply to him. My dad's business was doing well, mostly residential jobs and a bit of light commercial work. Nothing fancy, but it paid the bills. I saw potential in it, though. When I was not on a job site, I was learning about new technologies, home automation systems, security installations, and so on. My dad was old school. He did everything the traditional way, but I wanted to modernize and aim higher. The craziest part is that even when I brought in new clients or finished a big project flawlessly, he always found a way to praise Alex. "Your brother is so good with the clients," he would say. Or, "It is thanks to Alex that we got this website idea." Even though Alex had only answered the phone twice. I moved out on my own as soon as I could, a 20-minute drive from my parents. Close enough to help, far enough to breathe. I was making a good living. I was constantly learning. I was even thinking about getting my master electrician license and maybe starting my own company someday. That is when I met a woman. Let's call her Leah, 29. It was 6 years ago on a big luxury downtown building renovation project. She was the property manager for the site. The first time I saw her, she was arguing with HVAC technicians because their installation was not up to code. I thought, wow, she really knows her stuff. Most property managers I had met only wanted fast and cheap work. But Leah was different. She read the electrical codes and knew exactly what she wanted. During the first few weeks, she often came to check on our work, but not in an annoying way. She really wanted to understand what we were doing and why. I started taking my lunch breaks when I knew she would be making her rounds. We would talk about the project, then other things. She told me she grew up with a general contractor father and had learned on construction sites. I told her about my dream of modernizing my dad's business, of aiming higher. She was easy to talk to. I could talk about my family, my frustration, and she understood. Her brother had also been the favorite child, a brilliant lawyer who could do no wrong. We joked about starting a support group for responsible children. When the job ended, I thought I would never see her again. But a week later, she called the office for an urgent electrical problem in her apartment. My dad sent me to check it out. Obviously, there was nothing wrong at all. She just wanted to see me again. I thought it was pretty clever. We started dating shortly after. Leah was different. No games, no things left unsaid. If something bothered her, she said it. If she was happy, you saw it. And most importantly, she took an interest in my work. She helped me study for my exams and manage the company's paperwork. Within a year, she was practically running our office. She had revamped everything. We had new scheduling systems, digital invoicing, and modern contracts instead of our old handwritten quotes. My dad grumbled at first because he prefers paper, but even he eventually admitted the business was running better. I felt like I was building something solid. We moved in together after 2 years and talked about marriage and kids. She joked that our kids would be electricians too. I felt like I had made it, and at first, my family loved her. My mom invited her over all the time and asked her for help with the computer or for decorating ideas. Even my dad appreciated her efficiency. The business was growing. We were getting bigger contracts. We were becoming the go-to company in the area. Leah got along really well with Alex too, sometimes too well. She defended him when I got mad about his failures. She said I needed to understand his perspective, that growing up sick must have scarred him. In hindsight, I should have seen the red flag. But when you trust someone, you do not want to see the signs. We got engaged after 4 years. Nothing extravagant. A proposal at home after finishing a big project. We were working on the electrical renovation of a local hospital. She was helping me plan and coordinate the contractors. It was perfect. We were partners in everything. Then about a year ago, everything started to change. Alex had lost a large amount of money again in some crypto scheme and was broke once more. My dad gave him a job in the company. Just simple tasks like answering the phone, filing, and scheduling. Nothing complicated. But of course, he found a way to mess everything up. Leah, on her end, was spending more and more time at my parents' house, supposedly to help my mom plan the wedding and train Alex on the paperwork. I was out on job sites all day, so it made sense to me. But then, things started getting weird. 8 months before everything blew up, I noticed small details. Nothing obvious, just things that did not add up. Leah was spending a lot of time at my parents' place, supposedly to train Alex on the new billing system and prep for the wedding. I was working like a dog for our future, to buy a house, to do things right. Then other signals appeared. Leah changed her phone password. Before, we knew each other's passwords without any issues. But then she started acting weird about it. She gave some lame excuse about banking security. I did not say anything. I trusted her 100%. But shortly after, Alex changed too. He started wearing cologne. This was the guy who used to show up to work in the clothes from the day before. Now he had new clothes and was always on time. He was polite and volunteered to stay late at the office. He said he really wanted to learn the trade. I, like an idiot, thought it was fishy but wanted to believe it. I noticed Leah was talking about him differently. Alex is getting really good at managing the scheduling, she would say. Or, your brother is actually pretty smart when he puts his mind to it. She would get defensive when I complained that he had made yet another mistake and even ended up taking his side during family arguments. The vibe at the office got weird too. Our receptionist, Jeanette, who had been working with us for 15 years and was like a second mother, started giving me strange looks when Leah and Alex stayed to work late together. But every time I asked her what was going on, she just said nothing and changed the subject. One time, I came back early from a job site because we ran out of materials. I found Leah and Alex in the break room laughing. Nothing obviously suspicious, but they both jumped when I walked in like they had just been caught red-handed. Leah told me they were checking invoices at 7 p.m. Right. I started to notice that Leah was not talking as much about our future anymore. Before, she would get excited about the wedding prep, browse houses online, and talk about the family we would have. But all that stopped. She said she was just stressed with work. The real alarm bell that I ignored was that she stopped coming to the job sites. That used to be our thing. She would bring lunch, we would look at the blueprints together, and we would figure out solutions to problems. And suddenly, she was too busy at the office with Alex. About 6 months ago, we had a big family dinner. Leah acted strangely the whole evening. She was quiet and often on her phone. Alex was making inside jokes with her. At one point, he mentioned a typo at the office, and Leah burst out laughing. When I asked what was so funny, they just said you had to be there. After dinner, on the ride home, I finally brought it up. Are you okay? You seemed out of it tonight, I said. Leah kept staring at her phone. Just tired. Work is crazy. Yeah, It seems like you and Alex are getting along better and better these days. She tensed up a bit, but tried to play it cool. He is not as awful as you always say. He is actually pretty funny when you get to know him. Funny enough to make you ignore everyone during dinner. So what is that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that you seem different, distant, always on your phone. She immediately got defensive. Oh, so now I am not allowed to have my own conversations. Everything has to revolve around you. That totally caught me off guard. Leah had never spoken to me like that. That is not what I said. I just feel like something has changed. Maybe you are just being paranoid. I am sick of you always complaining about Alex. He is doing his best. I remember this knot in my stomach, this certainty that something seriously wrong was happening without knowing exactly what. She had never defended him like that before. Since when are you on Alex's team? Since I actually got to know him, instead of listening to your constant criticism. We finished the drive in silence. All the signs were there. The defensive attitude, the phone, the inside jokes, the way she was suddenly praising Alex. But you never want to believe that someone you trust completely could do that, especially not with your own brother. I remember lying awake that night, watching her pretend to sleep, and telling myself, no, I am just paranoid. The next 2 months were the same. Leah worked late. Alex was suddenly involved in the business, and I was the idiot working 12 hours a day to prepare for our future while my brother was stealing my fiancée right under my nose. And then the day everything blew up happened on a Tuesday. I remember it well. I was on a large commercial job site redoing the entire electrical system of a warehouse. Leah called me around 2 p.m. crying so hard I could barely understand her. She had to talk to me in person. It was urgent. My first thought was an accident or a family tragedy. I told my crew I had an emergency and rushed home. I found her parked in the driveway in her car. She refused to go inside. She was gripping the steering wheel like her life depended on it. I got in the passenger side and waited for her to speak. I am pregnant, she said. For a few seconds, I felt nothing but joy. We had talked about having kids after the wedding, and here it was, real. I started saying that we would handle it, that we could move the wedding date up if necessary. But she kept crying. There is something else, she sobbed. What? It might not be yours. Everything inside me froze. My brain refused to process it. Not mine. My voice sounded foreign. Whose else then? I stopped. And then, everything clicked into place. The late nights, the phone, the attention. No. I looked at her, waiting for her to say I was wrong. She said nothing. Tell me it is not him. Her breath hitched. My fists clenched. Leah, I said in an icy voice, tell me it is not Alex. She let out a strangled sound. It was not supposed to happen. I laughed humorlessly. Oh, of course. You just accidentally fell into my brother's bed. It was not like that, she said quickly. Just once. I cut her off. Once. Tell the truth. Silence. How long? I asked. She was breathing heavily. 3 months, maybe 4. I had to lean on my knees to keep from swaying. Does he know? My voice was cold and controlled. She nodded. I told him yesterday, and I realized I had to tell you too. I stared at her in disbelief, as if she expected me to thank her for being honest. I got out of the car. I needed air. She followed me, trying to explain that it was not planned, that they felt guilty, that it had been over for weeks. I was just seeing that laugh in the break room. They're working late. Were you going to tell me if you had not gotten pregnant? No answer. That said it all. I got in my truck and drove to my parents' house. Alex was in the office, doing nothing as usual. As soon as he saw my face, he knew. Listen, man, I can explain. I do not remember much of what happened next. It is a blur, but I recall seeing him on the floor with an injury to his face while my dad and 2 employees held me back. Alex was yelling that I was crazy, that Leah was the one who started it, and that they loved each other. This was my own brother, the one who had watched me build my life with her, sitting at my table every Sunday, knowing exactly what he was doing. My dad stepped in, trying to calm everyone down, saying we needed to handle this like adults. And then, Alex dropped the next bombshell. She is carrying my child. You cannot just ignore that. My dad's face went pale. He clearly did not know that part. My mom started crying. Jeanette grabbed her purse and left. I found out later that she quit that day. She said she could not work for people capable of doing something like that. I looked at my dad and said, "This is your problem now. I am done." He tried to stop me. "Wait, son, we can work this out. Family is family." Alex stopped being my family the day he touched my fiancée. I left and never went back. Leah was still at the house when I got back. She had packed a few bags and was sitting on the couch, crying. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said. "It just got complicated. I am giving you 24 hours to get out," I told her. "Go wherever, block my number, and forget my address. And the baby, you better hope it is Alex's. Because if it is mine, we will do a DNA test and go through lawyers." She tried to speak again, but I walked out. I went to my buddy Mike's place and stayed there for a few days while she moved out. After all that, I spent a whole week at Mike's with my phone turned off just to process it. He did not try to give me advice. He just let me breathe. When I turned my cell phone back on, I had 50 missed calls, mostly from my parents, a few from Leah, and even some from Alex. The nerve of that guy. I only listened to my mom's voicemails. She was crying, begging me to come talk to my dad, and saying he had a solution. I should have known my dad's solution would be more manipulation, but I went because my mom sounded devastated. Walking into the house felt weird. Everyone was in the living room. My mom looked exhausted. My dad was in his armchair, looking serious and ready to give a speech. Alex was there too, sporting a noticeable bruise. I am not going to lie, that was satisfying to see. My dad spoke up. "Son, I have thought about a way to resolve this situation so that it works out for everyone. I already knew this was going to end badly. Since you refused to reconcile with Leah, and given her situation, it seems logical that she and Alex get married." I genuinely burst out laughing. A real, nervous laugh right in my dad's face. But he was not finished. "Furthermore, since Alex and Leah are going to start a family, I think it is appropriate for Alex to take over the business, with Leah's experience in office management and Alex learning the trade." Alex learning the trade? I cut him off. He does not even know how to wire an outlet without supervision. My dad gave me that look he always gets when someone dares to interrupt him. "Watch your language, please. Your brother has shown a real interest in learning. In fact, I want you to train him." That is when I completely lost it. I started laughing again, but the kind of crazy laugh you do when the situation is so absurd your brain does not know how to react anymore. "Wait, let me get this straight. You want me to train the brother who got my fiancée pregnant, so he can take over the business I helped build while they raise a kid that might be mine? Have you lost your mind?" My mom started crying again. Alex just stood there, staring at the floor like the coward he is. And my dad played his last card. "This business is still in my name. If you refuse to help your brother, then maybe you should look for somewhere else to work." That is when I understood. All those years of work, everything I had built, the clients I had brought in, the reputation I had earned, none of it mattered. Nothing had any value compared to Alex, the little prodigy, and his latest screw-up. I stood up and walked toward the door. My mom tried to stop me, but I just told her, "It is over. Good luck with your new dream team." Alex finally opened his mouth. "Man, wait." I turned around and said calmly, "Call me man again, and there will be serious consequences." My dad yelled something about family loyalty and second chances. I did not even look back. The next day, I started calling all our big clients, the ones I had built personal relationships with. I told them I was leaving the company and that I would recommend good, trustworthy contractors to them. My dad called me back furious, screaming that I was trying to sabotage the business. I told him I was simply letting my clients know I would no longer be managing their projects. If they did not want to do business with his new dream duo anymore, that was not my problem. And the craziest part is, Alex and Leah accepted all this. They got married at the courthouse 2 weeks later, as if it was some beautiful love story and not a monumental betrayal. My dad even supported them. He gave them a down payment to buy a house, almost like a reward for what they had done. And there I was, standing in the ruins of everything I thought was real. No apologies, no real consequences, just this unspoken expectation that I move on while they played the perfect little family. So I moved on. I left. I found a job with a former competitor, a company that actually respected my work instead of treating me like a prop. I had better pay, real recognition, and above all, zero family drama. I bet everything on a fresh start. I rebuilt my own reputation. I even got my master electrician license, the one my dad said I was not ready for. Well, yes, I was. I had been ready for a long time. I just needed to step out of his shadow to prove it. For about 4 months, I did not hear a word about what was happening with the family business. My mom would send me a few texts, but I had asked her not to bring up Alex or Leah. I did not need that stress. Then last week, around 11 p.m., I got a call from my mom. She was crying again, saying Dad absolutely needed to talk to me. I was ready to hang up, but she sounded genuinely distraught. Please, I know you have every reason to say no, but we are about to lose everything, she pleaded. I was curious, so I stayed on the line. My dad took the receiver, and his voice was not the same. It was not his usual arrogant, know-it-all tone. No, he sounded broken, and I quickly understood why leaving Alex to run the company had been exactly the disaster I predicted. The genius had managed to mess up 3 big commercial jobs to the point where a client was threatening to sue them for electrical code violations. He made rookie mistakes: wrong wire gauge, lack of grounding, and junction boxes without covers. These are mistakes that can literally burn a building down. And that is not all. Instead of hiring real, qualified electricians, Alex had hired one of his drinking buddies from college as the lead electrician. The guy's experience? Changing light bulbs in his apartment. He had no license, no certification, and was probably unable to tell a voltage tester from a screwdriver. A real professional operation. Financially, it was even worse. Alex had forgotten to pay the liability insurance for the electrical contracting business. Let that sink in. One mistake, one fire, and everything goes up in smoke. But why waste money on insurance when you can pocket the cash? Because that is exactly what he was doing. He was taking cash payments and forgetting to declare them. The financial genius had also taken out several loans in the company's name without telling my dad. We are talking about large sums of money, and the funny part is, no one knows where it all went. It was not in his accounts, not in investments. Just gone. Well, if you do not count his new car and designer clothes. It is almost impressive how fast he destroyed everything. My dad spent 30 years building this business. Alex practically burned it to the ground in less than 6 months. This is what happens when you hand over a successful company to a guy whose greatest college achievement was being captain of the beer pong team. My dad discovered the truth when their insurance was canceled. Digging through the accounts, he saw that Alex was cooking the books, a little talent he clearly learned from Leah during their infamous late nights at the office. Most of the experienced employees had quit, and I do not blame them. Alex treated them like garbage, and the failures were starting to pile up. Jeanette, our old receptionist, had apparently tried to warn my dad for months about anomalies in the accounts, but he would not listen to her. My dad's voice was shaking as he told me all this. Then he said, "Son, I need you to come back. Help me fix this. We can make you the majority owner and give you total control." I told him I would think about it. He started begging. "Please, we are going to lose everything. The business, the house, everything I built. Your mom cannot handle it anymore." And then he pulled his final card. Alex and Leah had split up. She left last week without warning, leaving just a note saying not to contact her. The baby, no one even knows where they are. Apparently, Alex was not cut out to be a father either. My answer? Not my circus, not my monkeys. My dad tried to bring out his usual speech about family and loyalty. I cut him right off. Do you remember when I begged you not to give the business to Alex? When I told you he would destroy it? And what did you say to me again? Family is family. Well, he is your family now. My mom got back on the phone crying, saying they were in danger of ending up on the street. That part got to me. She did not deserve this. She was the only one who really tried to keep the family together, the only one who never took a side, even though she probably should have. I told her she could come live with me whenever she wanted, but only her. Not Dad, not Alex. "I cannot leave your father," she said. I sighed. "That is your choice, Mom, but my door will only open for you." I knew she would never come. A few days later, I got a text from Leah. "I know I am the last person you want to hear from, but I need help. The baby is yours." I got the test results back. Alex took all my money and disappeared. Please, I have nowhere to go. I read it. I stared at it. I put my phone down. I did not reply, and I am not going to. But that message stuck in my head like a rock at the bottom of my stomach. It should have devastated me. It should have changed everything. But all I felt was exhaustion. It felt like I had just managed to claw my way out of this pit, and the past was already trying to drag me back down to the bottom. And for the first time, I did not know what to do. Last night, while I was thinking about all this, my dad showed up at my place. No call, nothing. He was just there at my door when I got home from work. He looked exhausted, wearing an old jacket I had not seen since my childhood. He was unshaven and looked haggard. The first detail I noticed was that he was driving my mom's old Civic instead of his pickup. I learned later they had to sell his truck to pay off some of the debt. "Can we talk?" he asked in a quiet voice, not bossy for once. I let him in. Honestly, I wanted him to see how well I was doing without him. My new apartment is not bad. I got it after my last promotion. It is nothing luxurious, but it is mine, earned with my own sweat. He stood there in my living room, looking lost, like he no longer knew how to talk to me without giving orders. Finally, he sat down and spilled everything. The business is dead. There are lawsuits from 2 commercial clients for botched work. Most residential clients left after hearing that jobs were being left half-finished. The bank is going to foreclose on the house next month. "I should have listened to you," he told me. It was the first time I had ever heard him admit he was wrong. I told him it was nice to hear, but a little late. Then he pulled out a folder. Inside were the papers to sign the whole company over to me. 100% ownership, no strings attached. "You can save it," he said. "You always knew what you were doing." I was just too proud to admit it. The crazy part? 6 months earlier, that would have been everything I ever wanted. His recognition, his trust, total control. But there, looking at those papers, I just asked, "And Alex, what happened to him?" My dad's face crumbled. "He emptied our savings account last week and ran off. He left a note saying he needed to find himself." Yeah, classic Alex. Create a disaster, then run away from the consequences. "He is still your brother," my dad said in a low voice. "No, he stopped being my brother the day he decided that family loyalty did not matter to him anymore. Don't you think that reminds you of someone?" That hit him right in the heart. Good. He started telling me about all the things we could rebuild together, how we could reboot the business and be a real family again. I laughed. "Dad, are you not listening? I do not want your business. I do not want your help. It is over. But it is your legacy too. Everything we built, everything I built, you gave to Alex. Remember? You chose him even after he had an inappropriate relationship with my fiancée. Now, you live with that choice." He tried to guilt-trip me with Mom. Again, she is heartbroken seeing the family fall apart. I gave him the same answer as before. She is welcome here whenever she wants, but alone. She will not leave me, he said. Then that is her choice. And living with the consequences of your actions is yours. He sat there in silence. Then, in a tired voice, he asked me where he went wrong. I wanted to throw it all in his face. All his years of favoritism, all his excuses for Alex. How he had sacrificed someone who actually cared about the business for a kid who saw it as an ATM. But what was the point? You did not go wrong anywhere, Dad. You just got exactly what you wanted. Alex in charge. So how is that working out? He left shortly after, and I swear, he looked like he had aged 20 years between the time he walked in and the time he walked out. This morning, I got a text from Mom. They are moving in with her sister in Ohio next month. Dad is going to try to find work out there. She asked me one last time if I could help them stay here. I repeated the same thing. My offer still stands. She can come live here whenever she wants, but I am not setting myself on fire to keep others warm anymore. Leah still texts me from time to time about the baby. I told her to go through her lawyer to have them contact mine. I never heard from Alex again, and I do not expect to. Do you want to know what is weird? I thought seeing them lose everything would make me feel good, that it would be like karma coming back to hit them right in the face. But honestly, I feel nothing. No joy, no sadness, just nothing anymore. I started dating someone a month ago. We are taking our time. She asked if I was close to my family, and I just said no, not really. Maybe someday I will tell her the whole story, but for now, I just want to focus on my own life. No drama, no toxic family, no pointless efforts to earn an approval that will never come. I told Leah that from now on, everything would go through the lawyers. Will I be there for my child? Yes, I am not my brother. I do not abandon my responsibilities. But Leah burned that bridge to the ground. We will settle custody and child support in court. She made her choices. Now, she has to live with them, like everyone else in this story. For now, I am just trying to keep my head up, focus on my work, my new relationship, and building something that truly belongs to me. Sometimes at night, I lie awake thinking about the fact that my child is going to be born into all this chaos. But you cannot fix other people's mistakes. You can only try to live according to your own conscience. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living well. That is the end of the story, guys. Thanks for reading this far. Comment. Reading through this journey reminds me how much courage it takes to walk away from unhealthy environments. Setting firm boundaries is never an act of cruelty, but rather a profound declaration of self-respect. We often think we need an apology to heal, but true peace comes from accepting that some people will never understand our worth. True strength lies in taking responsibility for our own actions while refusing to carry the burden of someone else's mistakes. Moving forward does not mean forgetting the pain, but rather choosing not to let it dictate your future. You can still remain a kind and responsible person even after others have deeply broken your trust. Sometimes, the most powerful response to betrayal is simply living a good life and focusing on your personal growth. I hope this discussion inspires you to value your own well-being and to never settle for relationships that drain your spirit. You always have the right to protect your peace and build a beautiful life on your own terms. I would love to read your thoughts in the comments about how you handle difficult choices and protect your own boundaries. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.